Hi, welcome to the Raising the Standard Show. I'm Dr. Andrea Ramirez, and I'm excited to introduce you to my co-host today, Dr. Gus Reyes.
It's great to be here.
Who I know as Dad. We appreciate you coming on and love doing the father duo co-hosting, and so wanted to talk to you about what our show is going to be about.
Right. This will be about dual credit, how your student can get credit in high school for college credit. At the same time.
Absolutely.
It's a great deal. We're going to learn more about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to introduce you to our guests. We have Summer and Thomas Vertrees, who I'll tell you a little bit about them professionally and then tell you about the way that we're personally connected. But Summer is a university English instructor at Cumberland University, and so you teach high schoolers for Cumberland University, right? So that's dual credit.
And that's in Tennessee.
And that's in Tennessee. We're here from Nashville, Tennessee, right? And then Thomas Vertrees is a licensed professional counselor and has been in private practice for 3.5 years. Is, let me get this right, PNHMP-BC.
It's a lot of letters.
A board-certified psychiatric nurse practitioner, but you've been working in mental health for 15 years.
That's correct.
It's been really great. Right. But personally, you know, Summer was my matron of honor. I was her maid of honor, so have known you guys for a long time. We've been close for close to 20 years now.
Wow.
And so
And how long have you been married?
13.
13 years.
13 of those 20.
Ignore that pause.
To know that number. Yeah.
But it's so great to have you guys because you're experts in your field, and so it's kind of nice to know, to talk about this from a professional sense as well. But, you know, I just want people to know at home, Summer and Thomas are the real deal. They live out their faith, and I get to be blessed by that every day. So thank you guys for being
Thank
here.
you.
They have kids.
And they do have kids. They've got 3.
Oh, yes.
What are their
You
names?
want to give ages?
Daniel will be 10 in November.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wesley just turned 7 in June, and our final child, Hazel, is 2. She'll be 3 in February.
Right.
Yeah, she's definitely 2. You can just spend about a few minutes around
So
her.
you are real parents.
Yes,
We are
you are in the thick of it,
3
for sure.
kids.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're talking about dual credits, and we just have a few minutes before we jump into the interview, but I wanted to give folks at home a little teaser of why is it important to even know about dual credit?
Yeah, well, I think in today's society, we're really valuing higher education, and I think anytime that you can get the groundwork laid for that more successfully through, you know, obtaining the credits earlier, that's going to be a benefit for your student and for your family. So that's one reason why.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, you know, we want you to know at home a little bit about what's happening across our country. So watch this and find out how you can get involved.
Whenever the church gets involved, things happen and change. I mean, I know my father, Martin Luther King Jr., was the head of one of the preeminent movements for social change in the world. And it was faith leaders who led that movement. And so we need the faith community to get involved and get involved directly.
Welcome back. We're here with Summer and Thomas Vertrees, and we're talking about dual credit programs, how your high school student can get college credit while they're still in high school. And so, Summer, we know that you're a university English instructor for Cumberland University.
Correct.
You teach high schoolers, and so we wanted to know, what is dual credit, and what kinds of different formats across the country do you see dual credit happening?
That's a great question. Actually, the way that dual enrollment or dual credit plays out is going to vary all across the United States. It's going to vary even within each state. Each county or each school district may view how this is employed differently than others. So for where I teach at Cumberland, the way that it's worked is that I show up at the high school. I'm actually on the high school's campus, and I teach a university class to the high schoolers. And then they also get their high school credit for English, and they also end up with their university credit for English. Other schools may have online programs where the student never even leaves their home and can also get dual credit.
Wow.
They may have opportunities where they show up at the university's campus rather than staying in their own high school. So it's going to be very different, but the outcome is the same. The outcome is receiving 2 credits, kind of 2 birds with one stone, the high school and the college.
So how much does that normally cost?
It depends as well with your, you know, your county or your state. For students in Tennessee, they are able to tap into a grant, and monies are provided for them. So it's actually at no cost to the student, which is a wonderful opportunity.
Sure.
These students are able to, within the safety of like their high school environment, achieve these college credits. The only thing that they usually have to pay for is their textbook.
So when should a student begin to start finding out about this? How early? Is this a middle school or a high school?
I think it depends on the child in particular. You're not going to be able to enroll for those classes until your junior or most likely your senior year, but it's never too early to start thinking about it and make that plan, that high school plan for how your classes and your courses are going to work. I'm going to take this now and this later. So to set that whole plan, you might want to start at middle school, but the actual enrollment dually for both of those credits won't occur till your junior or senior year.
And how many credits can you get at one? I mean, if you go in your junior year of high school and your senior year, what's the most number of credits you can get?
Well, for instance, I know a school in Texas that you can actually get your entire associate's degree. So when you graduate high school and you have your diploma, you're also getting an associate's degree at the same time. And so there are lots of different programs out there.
And that could be free.
Yeah,
absolutely,
and that
depending on that school. And it shapes how your next year, you know, what should be your freshman year in college is actually going to be your sophomore, junior, senior year, just depending on the amount of credits you're able to take. And it allows you more opportunities, less student loans, or, you know, less time on campus, you know, doing those things because you came in with so much credit to help you.
This is fantastic. Why do you think that some students don't do this? What keeps students, what's the obstacle? What gets in the way? Because this is like the best deal in town.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a great opportunity. The university that I teach for at Cumberland, they really want the students to receive the education that we would give on the college campus. So as I instruct, I don't change the rigor, I don't change the relevance. The only thing I change is the location in which I'm teaching that class. And so I think when you hear that, some of the students are a little scared and overwhelmed because you are taking a true college class. And so when you think about that along with your other high school responsibilities of prom and football and also, you know, doing your part-time job, it may seem like too much work. And for some students, that is true. That's the case. It's going to be too much for that child. However, for others, it's going to be a great opportunity to take that class, get that under their belt, and to walk out with, you know, 3, 6, 9, a whole degree, just depending on what they're able to get from that particular enrollment.
So when you think about students where this works best, talk about that student. Describe that student, the one where this is going to really work well for them.
I think a student that plans to go to college, for sure. This is great for them, obviously. Those that are unsure, it might be a safe way to try it out and to get that particular you know, class out of the way to see if they can handle it. But the ones that are motivated, the ones that are, you know, striving towards being in the top of their class in high school academically, the ones who maybe want to go, already know that they want to go on for advanced degrees. That way, you know, if you do want to pursue your PhD, that hey, every little bit of time less that you have to spend working on that bachelor's is going to be a benefit to you. It just speeds up that process.
Yeah, because you can shave off a year, possibly 2 years from your college experience. So that's major. And then financially. So I think if you're a student who wants to save some money, then this is a great way to go. So what would you say to junior high students or middle school students that want to get ready for this kind of experience? Because like you said, it's a college class when you're in high school.
I think the thing that's most important is learning to balance your time. I only teach 2 days a week, my class, because that's how college classes are run. And so I'm there on Monday and I'm there on Wednesday, and the students don't see me Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's a true college class.
It is a true college class. And so again, that may look different in every state or every county, but for how we instruct it, that's what it looks like. And so those students need to understand that you have a lot of leeway between when your next assignment is due or when your paper is due, but it doesn't mean you can procrastinate. That time needs to be spent actually working on your subject matter, doing your research, you know, drafting your paper, whatever it is. So really it's about a time management, and that's a lot of the feedback I received from my students this past year is that they think, oh, it's just 2 days a week. And then they're like, oh no, I didn't, it's Sunday night. This is due Monday morning. And so those same kind of traits that you may have, no matter what level of education that you're studying or working with, they're gonna be more emphasized in this opportunity because you're seeing your math teacher every day maybe, but you're only seeing your English teacher 2 days a week, so you try to put it off, but that's not gonna work. So I think being able to time manage that would be important starting young to help you when you're in those classes.
So that's good preparation. What kind of sacrifices would it take for a student to do this?
You know, I think it would depend overall on each individual, of course. Everything's going to vary. But I think on a whole, a sacrifice you might have to make is, you know, you're going to have to sit down and say no to your friends sometimes. Because you can't do it all. You
so
just
all the social stuff that students do, they might not get to do that.
They may not get to do all of it.
But you do have some students that are involved in social activities, right? So it may not be all the activities, but maybe a few that they're saying no to?
Correct. I mean, I had students this past, my past academic year that were on the football team, that were on the dance team, ones that were in the culinary school where we have a pretty intense program where they're cooking and doing, you know, lots of neat and exciting things, and they were still able to take these college classes. There were just times maybe where they sacrificed a little bit of sleep, or maybe they didn't get to go out and hang that particular day with their friends, because we all have to make choices. And so there were days where those choices had to be made to where my paper's due tomorrow, I can't. And those that weren't in the dual program didn't know about the intensity of those papers, or understand the length, or understand the importance. So sometimes they had to educate their friends, like, no, this isn't like a paper in Miss So-and-so's class. This one's a big deal. This is for college credit. And so they really had to have opportunities just to say, I can't do that today.
So,
but they were still able to do lots of other activities.
So it's the first day of class. I'm in high school. I walk in your class. What do you say to me to help me realize that, you know, this ain't Kansas anymore? This is college. I mean, how do you help them bridge that gap?
It's definitely hard. I know for me, you know, I was the first. My mother and my father did not go to college, so when I entered into the realm of college, it was like a whole new world for me as well. And everything was new and everything is different. And I think one of the beauties of dual enrollment is that, for my students, they were in the safety of their own school. And they were in the safety, they looked around the classroom and they knew everybody. I was the new person. They were familiar, which is actually very opposite of most college traditional classrooms, is no one knows anyone, we're all on the same playing field. So I think for them, that helped ease their nervousness. And I like to think I'm an approachable teacher and a welcoming teacher, but I do mean business. And so those first days, they felt a little more comfortable because at least they knew the person to the right, to the left, because maybe they've been going to school with that individual since kindergarten. But when they, you know, sat down and they were looking at what's required of the course and flipping through that beginning paperwork, they kind of realized, okay, this is how it's different. And I think that on a whole, that nervousness was helped by being able to take it in, you know, the high school environment.
That makes sense. Well, I know that you said that you could get potentially an associate's degree. Are there other subjects that are more common for dual enrollment, or you called it something else? Dual
credit, dual enrollment, both of those things. Usually what you'll find is 100 and 200 level classes that are taken at the dual enrollment level or dual credit level. The reason for that being is those are usually your associate level classes, or classes that are most likely to transfer. So I am delivering education via Cumberland University. My students get Cumberland University credit. They may or may not choose to continue on with Cumberland. They may decide to go to another local university or go out of state. However, since they took their 101s, 102 type classes, those are the classes that transfer. And so those credits are ones that you'll take more than like a 300 or 400 level course, because that's when you get into your specialties. So we call that your general ed. So your general ed curriculum is what you'll find in usually the dual enrollment programs.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing dual enrollment for just 1 year. I'm about to start my second year with that. I've been instructing at the collegiate level, though, for almost 10 years. So.
Well, I'm just thinking, because you've taught high school and you've taught college, when you think about the difference in like the number of pages, what does that look like between a high school English class and a college English class that you're teaching to high schoolers?
When I was teaching high school, you have such a large number of students, and you're kind of responsible. I was an English instructor, so I was responsible for doing literature and doing writing. However, as a university instructor, I'm only responsible for composition in this particular class. So we're just focused on writing. Of course, we'll read, but that's not going to be, you know, we're not going to dig into all those literary elements. We're going to focus on the rhetoric, the composing, the writing, the brainstorming. And so on a whole, I tell my students that I want to see good product rather than a lot of product. Because they think, you know, oh, well, if I do 13 pages, that's got to be better than 10. Well, it's not if the last 3 are awful. And so, you know, the page numbers may or may not be greater than something that they've done before, but I'll let my students know that I'm actually reading these and I'm assessing these and I'm giving you feedback. It's not just, oh, they have 10 pages, they get an A, which that sometimes does happen, unfortunately, in the high school environment, just because of the sheer amount that the instructors have to cover, the volume of students, you know, the standards. But since my standards are smaller, I'm only focusing on writing, we dig into that. So there may not be a huge length, but I'm definitely going to look for a great quality.
You know, I do want to go back, because you were saying 100 and 200 courses. And for those folks that may not know what college courses look like, can you explain what a 100 or a 200 course is?
For sure. So you usually go to to college for 4 years to get your bachelor's degree. And of those 4 years, you take certain amount of courses in order to get that final diploma. And so you have your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, 100, 200, 300, 400 levels. So you rank through there. So in your senior year, you should be taking 400 level classes, which are usually more specialized, more designed for, what you are studying. For instance, Thomas, as, a student, he would have taken 400 level sociology courses. Well, me as a student, I would have no reason to do that because I'm not studying sociology.
What's your major?
So I would not be in those classes. So that's usually how it works. So 1 and 200 level would be the first 2 years of college, the things that are more general before you get into your specific details.
Yeah,
Great.
That makes perfect sense. Well, we've only have like 30 seconds left, but I know that you're a believer and that the Lord has tapped on your heart on so many things. When you think about how your walk influences the way you instruct, tell us a little bit about that.
That's such a great question because, your faith is a part of everything that you do and who you are. And I think most recently with my past year of teaching with Cumberland, as I looked out to those students, I realized more and more and more that how much I loved them, like how much I truly loved my students and I wanted what was best for them. And sometimes what was best for them and the best way to love them was to not let them get by with that thing that they're trying to do or to turn in work that's not successful because unsuccessful work isn't going to help them in the future. And I think in order to help grow them and build them up as an individual, but also as a whole person, a whole body, mind, spirit, soul, was to give them great feedback, to love them, to build them up, to improve them so that when they moved on, they knew that they were loved, but they also had talent and the best was expected from them because I wasn't going to take the last minute work that maybe some other teacher would. We were going to get good quality because you could do it, and I expect that from you.
Good word.
I love that. I love that. I do want to come back to that, though, because I think that that is really about the heart of our show, which is raising the standards, expecting the best of students. So we want you to know how you can get involved in expecting the best of students around the country. So watch this and find out more.